at 6:25, and I will read the notice of public hearing. Please take notice that the Plan Commission of the City of Portage, Wisconsin will consider the granting of a zoning amendment for parcel number 6017.03, 1000 Silver Lake Drive, and parcel number 6017.04, 100 Lake Road, City of Portage, Columbia County, Wisconsin, for Allison and Matthew Schneider applicants. A public hearing will be held May 20th, 2024 at 6:25 PM at the Portage Municipal Building, 115 West Pleasant Street, to rezone parcel number 6017.03 from B3 Interchange Business to R3 Single and Two Family, and rezone parcel number 6027.04 from R5 Large Scale Multifamily to R3 Single and Two Family. All interested persons may appear in person or by their attorney or agent for the purpose of offering such proof in support of their position, opposing or endorsing the granting of this rezoning to said property. Dated this 15th day of April 2024. Stephen Sobiak, Business Development and Planning Director. At this time, is there anyone that would like to appear and make a statement for or against the proposed rezoning? I will ask again, is there anyone here that would be willing to come up and speak for or against the application to rezone this property at this time? If not, we'll ask a third time. Is there anyone here that would like to speak for or against the rezoning to said property? If not, we will declare the public hearing closed.
In the mayor's absence, as vice chair, I'll be chairing this meeting, and I'll call the meeting and ask Steve to run the roll call.
Sure. Craig is excused. Pedelinsack. Egan.
Here.
Johnson. Here. Neckreiner.
Here.
Sulik. Here. Schneider's excused. We have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. No public comment?
No.
All right. Moving on, the minutes from our April 2nd meeting. Any questions or comments, or a motion?
Motion to approve.
We got a motion? And a second? Steve, we call for vote?
Pedelinsack. Egan.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Neckreiner.
Abstain.
Sulik. Motion carries.
All right, moving on to our first action, discussion on the Schneider properties.
So, an application for zoning map amendment's been submitted by owners of the property, Allison and Matt Schneider. They own parcel 6074.03, which is Silver Lake Hill Edition plat outlined here, and then 100 Lake Road, which is the parcel right here, right at the intersection of Lake Road and Silver Lake Drive. They proposed development of 8 residential zero-lot line duplex buildings on 6003 right here, and then they propose 1 zero-lot line duplex here. My zoning administration report is included in the packet. It is in compliance with Wisconsin DNR and FEMA. It is in harmony with the recommendations of the city comprehensive plan. In fact, the comprehensive plan for the city does designate future land use as single-family for both of these. So that's kind of an easy decision, and we are in need of residential housing. So Matt and Allison are no strangers, obviously, to the Plan Commission. Matt is unable to attend, but he's obviously the member of the Plan Commission. This is the proposed development, as you can see. So you can see they propose 1 building here, which is a zero-lot line duplex here, and then 4 on this side, and then 4 of this side with the road coming down the middle. We did receive 1 comment as a result of the public hearing notice that was very much in favor of this. Josh Varing is a neighbor, and he lives down at the end of Lake Road. He wanted me to tell you, even though he's not able to appear today, that he's very much in favor of this rezoning petition. He feels this development will really benefit the city of Portage and benefit his neighborhood. Staff do recommend approval of this. The Plan Commission would make a recommendation to the City Council, so City Council action is also required. This is approved by the Plan Commission.
Is that cul-de-sac or is that?
It's not existent right now, so that is the proposed, but it would be a cul-de-sac, yeah. And then they do plan a future development, a future phase at the end here. And there would be an easement here that would be submitted with the site plan. So we do expect the site plan, assuming this is rezoned, to come before the June Plan Commission meeting. So you'll have another kick at the cat to review the Plan Commission in full, the site plan in full for this proposal.
So eventually will cul-de-sac?
Yeah, there should be. But we'll see that when the site plan comes. It doesn't necessarily show this. This, I believe, yeah, is a gravel driveway.
And this is phase 1, technically. That cul-de-sac, I think, comes into play with their proposed phase 2. So this would, I think, in their phase 1 site plan that the city just got Friday, I want to say.
Yeah, you're right.
That would be a dead-end street for the time being until phase 2. But again, we'll review that next month.
Gravel drive mostly suffice in the fire department. And with that phase 2, it would extend longer than our code about length of
Yep.
the street before a fire truck to have to be able to turn around.
So with the current plan, the fire department's able to pull in and then back out. That gravel driveway wouldn't necessarily be needed per fire code, and that's obviously being left out so they can extend it.
Yes, they reviewed this, and we'll have their full report at the June Plan Commission meeting. But they have reviewed this, and Troy is fine with it.
This is just for rezoning,
And
but
that's even without the gravel access drive.
I know this is just as a rezoning request, but just out of curiosity, is the long-term plan to keep that a private drive the whole time? This won't be a public road?
It will be conveyed to the city as right away.
Oh, it will be?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that'll be covered in the developer's agreement.
Right across the road from the airport, right?
Right.
Okay, so, any FAA restrictions or concerns along that?
No, there is a very slight, encroachment of that, runway, prohibition, and it runs along the lot line right here. So it does slightly onto this parcel, but it does not come near the building. So as long as there's no structure, they'll be fine. As you know, it primarily impacts the parcel to the west.
They have to submit an application in the FAA for that?
I don't believe they do.
No, and we're determining that. So as Steve mentioned, part of this development does fall within the building restriction line of the airport, but that building restriction line won't come into play for structures of this height. So yeah, if you were going to put a 5-story building, yes, that would come into play, as it will not.
They come in that low, they got trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's in none of the major obstacle-free zones, that's for sure.
Any other questions or concerns? Not, anyone interested in making a motion?
Motion to approve the proposed zoning amendment application for Matt and Allison Schneider, parcel 6017.03, 1000 Silver Lake Drive, and parcel 6017.04, 100 Lake Road.
I'll second.
Lake Road and Silver Lake Drive.
You will call for a vote?
Petalensek. Egan.
Aye.
Johnson. Knockreiner.
Aye.
Sulik. Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is discussion possible action on the site plan for Penda Corp.
The Holtz Companies, also known as TWH Portage Properties LLC, has submitted
Oh,
this
this one.
CSM.
Sorry about
Oh, I'm sorry.
that. No, I read the wrong one.
That's all right. For this recently approved workforce housing development that we have spent so many hours reviewing and recommending. So thank you all for your hard work on this. Obviously, it impacts parcels 6023, 6025, 6026, and 6027. This CSM basically divides the development's territory into 2 parcels, Lot 1 on the west side, and then Lot 2 on the east side. And the reason for this is there are basically going to be 2 different types of buildings, as you know. Lot 2 is going to be primarily the dormitory-type building as well as the first stormwater pond with access on Northside Drive as it's extended. And of course, this does include the right-of-way territory for Northside Drive that will be handed over to the city. So that's delineated here. And then the west side of the CSM is Lot 1. That will be owned by a different owner, specifically Adam Kowalik, and he will develop the multifamily apartments that are traditional in nature with access from CX. So it's pretty non-controversial. It meets all the bulk zoning requirements for this R5 zoning designation, and staff would recommend approval of the CSM as submitted.
Sorry if I'm confusing topics, but that last bit about the reason for the parceling and Lot 1 being owned and developed, the more traditional multifamily, is that new?
No, no. It mirrors the site plan. So the site plan that we did approve at the last meeting for the plan commission shows the two dormitory-type buildings in relative close proximity on Lot 2. They're together in that area on the eastern side.
I guess I was referencing more them being developed more as related but fully divided.
And they are. For financing purposes, this is what has to occur for them to move forward with it.
Same company.
Yeah. And truth be told, Adam is the soon-to-be son-in-law of Tom Holtz.
Yeah.
Tom Holtz would own basically Lot 1 and develop that with the full force and power of the Holtz companies. And then Adam Kowalik, as a co-partner, would develop Lot 2, the multifamily apartments.
Okay, so the site plan wasn't layered over this in this case, but none of that has changed. There'll still be.
No, nothing at all. Absolutely. This is just another layer of ownership that neatly fixes everything and makes it possible for them to move forward to develop these properties.
Roads into that are where? I mean,
Yeah, so two road accesses, Northside Drive, as we speak, is being extended. If you go out there, you can see the utilities are pretty much in. They knocked these out, as Phil would say, pretty quickly within the last week. So this is being extended. And then as the Lot 1 gets developed, obviously the ingress egress is going to be from CX. So two ingress egress points into this development.
Bill, the city will eventually pay in a water loop system for service and architecture.
So the north side drive extension connects two dead ends of our system now, at the end of Northside Drive and North Ridge Drive. And then part of our developer's agreement would be a connection from that new leg that we're putting in, connected with CX.
When they brought this to the city months ago, it was always brought to the city, the Holtz property. There was never another owner involved. It was the Holtz property. Adam was not involved presenting it to the city. Okay, now, maybe you knew that, Steve, but the city didn't know that. And not that we have, say, etched in stone, but we have some very concerns about this property. One was that the Holtz company was going to manage this property.
That's
That
correct.
they were gonna have a full-time manager on site 24/7 on this property. I wanna make sure that them same conditions are gonna apply to Adams' property. That all of a sudden that don't come back and say, well, this isn't really the Holtz property anymore.
That's a very good point. I might further add that Adam is an employee of the Holtz Company, and he does serve as an agent, so hopefully, but I totally agree with you. And the devil will be in the details of the developer's agreement, and I would defer to Administrator Boblik, but I believe that will be referenced and will be language in the developer's agreement with both Mr. Kowalik and the Holtz companies. Right, correct. I think, I believe.
I mean, at the end of the day, the owners are the same.
Yeah,
The owners are really the same.
they kinda are, yeah.
Well, they are and they're not. They are when they're talking, like we are tonight. They aren't if something happens in court.
All the same agents.
And I'm not saying, I'm not alluding to that, but the fact of the matter is, they are two separate owners, and God forbid something happens to that marriage. I just want to make sure, because, when we had the public hearings and the residents' concerns and all of that, that was all relayed to the residents, that this is how this was going to operate. And I don't want it to come back to the city and say, well, that is how it operates for the Holtz property, but we're not the Holtz property.
Yeah, I have to agree, Dennis, yeah, no. And it was real subtle, and in hindsight, we probably could have done a better job of that. And so we had Tom Holtz, and we had all the people from the
Yeah.
Holtz Company, and we also had Adam Kwolek, but again, we didn't point out and pull him out and say, by the way, Adam is gonna own Lot 2. We did not say
We
that.
understand
So I
Lot
think
1.
that's a good.
I think our attorney will advise us that we better have our i's dotted and t's crossed.
There'll be two separate developers.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we, for nothing more than for our residents, of what we've told our residents is going to happen out there, because there's been a given amount of controversy about this, because there's been a lot of rumors that are really untrue. But we want to make sure that don't come back to bite you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And I guess I just have to,
Be
it's,
clear, and it's gotta be legally, so yeah.
right, and I understand all of this can get corrected, the development agreement, I don't mean to make a mountain out of a molehill, but I'm honestly glad that Denny said also that, because when you said that, I was like, boy, I must have missed a meeting or something. And the optics of Lot 2 being the dormitory-style building, and that being owned by somebody that isn't directly the developer and manager that's been of record.
Lot 2 is the Holtz Company.
Oh, I thought you just said,
Lot 1 is Adam.
Yep, Lot 1 is Adam.
And
Oh.
Lot 2 is
It's
the dormitories.
counterintuitive, you would think it would be the other way around.
I wouldn't say
but-
that it's a specific person. It's going to be owned by TWH, which is the ownership of the property right now. Lot 2 is going to be manufacturing residence halls. A new company they formed, because they had International Residence Halls in the Dells, Branson, and Pigeon Forge, which is more like the J1 visa program. Manufacturing thing is a new
okay, but that hasn't, who's gonna have the deed to Lot 2, and who's gonna have the deed?
TWH and then MR, and then.
Okay, so two different owners.
Parent
Okay,
company,
and
Holtz.
okay, and yeah, okay. They're single, they're gonna be single-member entities that are owned by, sorry, repeat that last
Parent
part?
company is Holtz.
Both of these LLCs will be owned by Holtz?
Yeah.
In effect, yeah.
Well,
But Adam, it's my understanding that Adam
it's been explained.
Kwolek will be the controlling partner that will control Lot 1. That has been conveyed to me. Correct me if
Say
I'm
the
wrong.
principal, yeah.
Yeah. And so I wanted to convey that to you in simplest terms so you would understand that.
all right.
I don't know how money works,
Yeah.
why people do what they do.
But I will
No,
tell you, in
I'm sure it's
reality,
tax
this is-
reasons.
This is the way it will work, because again, I've had, Michael and I and Phil have had lots of conversations, and we have to be transparent, so I'm being transparent with you. as to The de facto management.
Anything going in the head of this animal here, the lower left?
Yeah, that will be, I believe, a stormwater pond primarily. Right, Phil?
I think that's what they have it earmarked for.
Right here, yeah, I think there's a pond right here.
I think there is one down there.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of ponds.
yeah, so that would be, yeah, it's a nice, yeah, it looks like a little animal, a little dog with, at least 2 legs. We just, and we even have a tail here going down this way, but anyway.
No park, is it?
Well, considering this is simply a CSM, I don't mean to get too off of the business at hand, but I do, I'll repeat myself first and say, I don't think in the end this gives me any concern. The point that this is, if the point of this CSM is to divide the overall project legally so that two different parties can take ownership, I'm glad we talked about it a little bit, and also I'm glad that I'm not crazy and this is somewhat news to me. I do think if for optics, for no other reason than optics, we should really highlight that detail, and then have, obviously, when the plan comes through, the actual development plan, I'm guessing that'll clear things up and it'll once again look like a single project.
It really will, yeah.
All the infrastructure is shared between the two. Stormwater interplays with, regardless of the ownership lines.
Correct. Yeah, there will be some stormwater that goes from lot 2 to lot 1 and vice versa.
And the parking lot still run through?
Yeah, as a practical matter, I really don't think anyone would see any difference. It would look like all one development,
Okay.
to be totally honest.
We control all that.
Yeah.
In the
we-
developer's
right,
agreement, we control exactly
Right.
what we want it to be.
Right, we approved the site plan, so exactly.
Yeah, I mean, so, yeah, I mean, we have all the control of that.
There's not really anything hardly being produced for lot 1 at this point, site plan, of course, but definitely all the emphasis is on that building in lot 2 currently.
I mean, I don't want to get into their business or anything. There's a reason they're splitting it. They owned it all now, and now they want to split it. There's a reason for that. Now, maybe they don't have to tell us what that reason is. But without telling us what that reason is, then we can all second guess that.
Yeah. I guess my understanding is it's primarily financing,
Yeah,
yeah, which makes
and
sense.
taxes
'Cause
and,
it is-
I mean, I don't.
Let's face it, it's a $40 million development
I
together.
don't understand
so-
it. It's just, it's now we're this far down in the game, and now they want to do this. There's obvious reasons for that.
I'll say that as somebody that deals with this all the time, there's nothing unusual about what they're doing. I mean, most of my customers split every single property just for the thin veil of liability coverage. And then, yes, if financing is a consideration, banks have legal lending limits. And on a large project like this, if they're working with a community bank, there could be all sorts of aspects there that would steer them towards a structure like this and wouldn't have any impact on the end management or anything. With that, I'll make the motion to approve the CSM as presented.
As part of that motion, the, whatever was presented to us before, and however it's memorialized, flows through from one property to the other.
This is in the development agreement,
I don't believe it does, because it's really not germane to the approval of the CSM. It's just not germane. I mean, we are simply approving the CSM. What would be germane is having that conversation with the developers agreement at the city council level, when the city council takes up the developers agreements with the owners of lot 1 and lot 2.
Everything that we've been told and/or promised, verbally and whatnot, goes into the developer's agreement. That's when we hold our feet to the fire.
Not
We
hearing
have a
it.
motion that's been seconded to approve the CSM for TWH Property LLC, parcels 6023, 6025, 6026, and 6027. I will call the roll. Pedolinczak. Egan.
Aye.
Johnson. Nackreiner. Sulik. Motion carries.
All right, now we're to discussion and possible action on the site plan for Pendacorp. Will you relay the details?
Yes, so Penda Corporation has submitted this site plan for this facility. It primarily is 6 steel tanks measuring 60 feet tall at the eaves to the rear area of the Portage facility of Penda at 2344 West Wisconsin Street. The site plan also shows a drain extension, a new pump house, and a new benchmark #1 top nut fire hydrant. So as you can see, these are the 6 steel tanks that have been added to the rear. The pump house is here. It is a substantial development, and of course, those will contain HTP, high-temperature plastic material, both virgin and regrind for Penda's plastic manufacturing process. The fire chief has reviewed this with the technical review committee and has no concerns. In the interest of transparency, we have to share with you that there was quite quite an issue with this development because of the fact that Penda Corporation, number one, did not submit a building permit for this, and they did not submit a site plan. So this has already been installed. The owners of Penda are very apologetic. They are very sorry for that. It was really a huge mistake. There were two contractors that were involved, as it was explained to the city. One of the contractors, Penda understood would be responsible for submitting not only the site plan for approval, but also the building permits. And they were not done, and the Public Works Department actually received an application for these in the right-of-way. So it was by accident that we even found out about it as they were loading them, and by the time it was explored, they were installed. So you need to be aware of that. But with that said, we have the technical review committee that includes the mayor, the city administrator, myself, Phil Livingston, as well as the fire chief and Ryan Armstrong, the fire inspector, have reviewed this in depth and scrutinized this. And it does meet city code, it does meet setbacks. There's real no concern from the fire chief. So even if they had not installed this, we would have recommended approval by the planning commission for this site plan. So staff does recommend approval of this as submitted, for you know.
Was it a local contractor?
No, I believe they're one is out of up north somewhere,
I
Fox.
believe so.
Yeah.
It's not local.
Steve, we have in our ordinances fees that are adjusted when this
Yeah,
happens.
they can be nicked double, so they will get
And have we
double
done that?
fees if that is so.
Done that,
deep.
Phil?
So this approval will go through our standard permitting process. It will go through each department, and the building inspector will be notified to assess those double permit fees if they wish.
It's unclear if that goes to GEC or the city. I'm not really sure who the double fees go to. Contract.
The only reason I say that is, is that we that we don't set a precedent here, They got away with it,
Correct, and that has
That
been
was a
standard
concern,
practice in
Not
the
that I'm looking
past.
for the extra money, but I'm looking for the next guy that does that, and, well, you didn't do it, you didn't charge Penda.
It's sort of almost shockingly incompetent.
I mean,
This is a bad thing to have happened.
yeah.
I mean, imagine if it wasn't conforming.
Yeah, that's $1 million boo-boo.
Right. So the owner had no,
No knowledge.
no knowledge or any reason to not follow the
Yeah,
practice.
and
They relied on
I mean,
their,
if you track their track record, Penda has been a great corporate citizen, in my opinion, since they've been here. They really don't.
I honestly don't know about the double fee, but I have to assume something like that exists as the hammer for a repeat offender that like just prefers to ask for forgiveness rather than approval.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little slap on the wrist, if you will.
I will tell you that if you were to do something plumbing-wise, use that for an example, in your house, you didn't take out a permit and you got caught, that fast, there'd be no questions asked, they'd put double fee to it. That fast. So just because it's Penda, we shouldn't look the other way, because I'm sure there are people within this community that have paid double fees, because now, they could have been trying to get away with something by the same token, but there's a reason we have that ordinance.
Chicken coops, happens all the time. They put them up before a permit,
Oh,
double fee.
So in a former life, in another community, experienced something similar to this, and while it was eventually approved, the community still had the developer go through a formal process to protect itself, to kind of get them, others have been concerned about it as well, or do we just approve it here?
This is that process, right?
Yeah, this is the process now. It's entirely possible, in theory, if this did not meet our city code, that we would reject it, and we would have the authority to have them remove what did not meet city code. So we could do that, absolutely, but that's not the case here, luckily for everybody, I think. So that's a great point, Chuck, absolutely. So this is the process, yeah. And again, once they found out that this was not submitted as a site plan, they were very apologetic, and many calls are made. So, you know, I really don't believe that they intended for this to happen.
And just to reiterate, they're not looking for a single variance or,
No, not at all. No variances required or needed.
I'll make a motion that we approve the site plan for Pender.
a motion? Second. Would you call a vote, please,
I will
Steve?
call the roll on approval of the site plan for Pender Corporation, 2344 West Wisconsin Street, as submitted. Petallinsek. Egan.
Aye.
Johnson. Nackreiner. Sulik. Motion carries.
Next topic, discussion possible action on the site plan for Fox River Canoe Kayak launch on State Highway 33 Wayside.
I talked to Toby, Park and Rec Director. What's on the screen is the canoe kayak launch to be installed on the wayside near the Fox River. It's a pretty popular place where canoes and kayaks have gone in. The Greater Portage Area Community Fund, they've donated a substantial amount to have this put in. The DNR, all the requisite DNR approvals, wetlands issues have all been taken care of. The last step is for the site plan to be approved by the Plan Commission as shown here. We think it'll be a really nice feature for people to access the Fox River.
Very cool aspect of this proposed development, is it's going to be handicap accessible, with a mechanical slide, which would help a handicapped person actually get into a canoe or kayak. I think it's a really cool project.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it is ADA accessible too.
That wayside isn't in the historical register, is it?
It is, I don't know if the wayside is, but there's a site directly next to it that is.
This did go through state archaeological, historical permitting.
So this, the wayside is in the historical.
I think to Michael's point that it's adjacent to, so they run.
So the
that
wayside
permit.
is not. We just want to be careful, because Steve can maybe remember this, that area down there where you can park, we wanted, a few years ago, the city wanted to put asphalt down there because it's gravel. They would not let us because that isn't the way it was 100,000 years ago. And it's in the historical, so we can't change it. We just want to make sure that.
Who's the one that restricted that?
Huh?
Who's the one that restricted that?
Our Portage Historical.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't the state or the feds.
No, but they wouldn't allow us to do that. We just want to make sure we got our butts covered on that.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think it's
Toby-
ridiculous myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Toby
But I'm
did
just telling you.
tell us that, as part of this process, they did have an archaeological study to make sure there was no, this would have no impact on Native American areas of significance like a burial mound, and it came back clean, it does not. So, that's a great point,
I'm okay with putting asphalt down and not telling them.
Who owns that wayside?
The city of Portage owns that wayside, that's owned by the city of Portage, so we own it. Lock, stock, and barrel.
And as far as plan commission goes, I mean, it's still a ways, what are we, the path?
We're approving the site plan, so that
Oh.
includes the path from it includes.
Yeah, that's on water, right? We don't have authority over
and
that.
Basically, the handicapped accessibility dock, as shown.
But really, it's just the path, because the other thing's floating, right? And I've been told that we don't get to,
Yeah, I know, it's a gray area. Sorry.
Well, in the way the parking lot's delineated, I think Chuck, he said it.
Would like to make a motion to approve site plan for the proposed Fox River canoe slash kayak launch, Dayton Highway 33 west side.
just that last part, no part of this plan is changing the parking lot, right?
No,
I think there's a future use sort of laid out.
yeah.
Got a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions before Steve?
Question, who maintains the Fox River? Because half the time you can't get down that for all the dead trees they're laying in the Fox.
The DNR has
Usually Fred,
jurisdiction.
what I heard is Fred Galley sneaks down there and cuts them with his chainsaw.
I know nothing of that.
All right.
DNR, obviously, there is a regulation that once a tree falls, you must, my understanding, you do have to leave it.
Yeah.
Because again, the DNR has purview over all.
They're just very
Bodies of
precise
water.
beavers
Yeah.
down
very
that
picky.
way.
So what happens under the cover of darkness happens.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Not, Steve, will you call a vote?
Uh-huh. Petalynsack. Egan.
Aye.
Johnson. Nackreiner. Sulik. Motion carries.
Only other,
Motion to adjourn.
a motion to adjourn? I'll second. Steve, will you call?
Petalynsack. Egan.
Aye.
Johnson. Nackreiner. Sulik. Motion carries.